Hello everyone! So today I'm going to be doing a very brief October wrap-up and then I'm going to be doing a November pile of possibilities. I literally have 20 minutes to do this, so I'm just gonna kind of fly through things. I do have a vlog for Victober that should have been up already if you're interested in seeing more details about the books I read in October for Victober, but I'm just going to run through my basic thoughts on them and then I'm just going to run through some plans for November. So let's start, like I said, with Victober reading. I'll actually rank what I read. Unfortunately, it was a slower month. If you've been watching my vlogs and stuff, you'll probably know about that, so we're not going to talk about it here, but I did end up reading 4 things, completing 4 things. So like I said, definitely a slower month for me, especially because one of those things that I finished was a short story. So we'll start with that one because that was probably my least favorite thing I read during the month, and that was The Poor Clare by Elizabeth Gaskell, as contained in this collection of Gothic tales by Elizabeth Gaskell. I gave it 3 stars. It was good, enjoyable, interesting to read. I didn't dislike the experience, but it just wasn't really a standout for me. We were going to do a podcast episode on it, but due to events of this month, I did not end up doing that with my friends, so we skipped that one. Maybe someday we'll do it, but for now, it's at the bottom of my ranking, but it was still a solid read. I didn't dislike it at all. Then I read The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, this one being I read all of them, not just one short story out of it. And I really enjoyed this. I gave it about 4 stars because I felt like it was one that I saw the quality. I was very entertained. It did its job, but it's not something that I would consider a new favorite, or it didn't like capture my heart in any way necessarily. It was just enjoyable and fun, and I didn't have any real issues with it. In fact, I pretty much liked all of the stories. There were maybe 1, 2, 3 maybe that I didn't like as much, but honestly, overall, I enjoyed myself the whole time. I listened to the audiobook for this and I just really enjoyed myself, and most of it I listened to it in one day while I was working on a shipment that we had received, and it was just glorious. I really liked it. So yes, really enjoyed that and glad I finally got to it. Then we have the one book that I didn't read for Victober that wasn't Victorian literature, so I'll spend a little bit longer on this because I didn't really discuss it in my vlog, but that is Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. As you can see, I got this for one of my Book of the Month add-ons. I read The Invisible Hour earlier this year, maybe a month or I think it was either September or August that I read it. Really loved the writing, loved the first half, hated the second half. In this, I still really enjoyed her writing. You can definitely tell this one's older, it's not as polished, but I do really like her writing style. I like her approach to characterization and telling stories. What I don't like is the amount of sex in her books. Of course, not everybody's going to have an issue with that, but for me, it just took away from the heart within the book. It just distracted from that. And it did that in Invisible Hour as well. Like in Invisible Hour, the sexual stuff, it wasn't like over the top, but the context of the sexual stuff made me uncomfortable. This just had a lot more, not overly graphic. It wasn't like it was the most smutty thing I've ever read or anything, but it just had enough that I just didn't really love it. Like I said, it distracted for me. But I ended up giving it, I think, about 4 stars as well. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to keep it for now. It had good vibes. I watched the movie as well. There were definitely things they changed in the movie that were a little weird to me, and then there were things that were in the movie that I actually liked better than the book, so I would say both of them I just kind of had mixed feelings about, but overall found them both pretty enjoyable. And the final book I have to mention, my favorite that I read this month, was Barchester Towers by Anthony Trollope. I definitely enjoyed this book. It was fun to revisit it pretty much every day throughout the month. It didn't get as dramatic and sensational as I like my Victorian literature to get, but I still really enjoyed myself. I love Anthony Trollope's characterization of people. He just does so incredible with that, and yeah, I'm excited to finally continue with this series, hopefully sooner rather than later. So that is it. That is what I read for October, and now let's get into my November plans. So first things, getting it out of the way, nonfiction November. I never usually get super invested in nonfiction November just because I'm not one that I can just sit and read a nonfiction book most of the time. I have to kind of break it up or listen to it on an audiobook. So I usually only get 1 or 2 things read, but the one I want to physically read that I'm really excited about is 6 Women of Salem, The Untold Story of the Accused and Their Accusers in the Salem Witch Trials by Marilynne K. Roach. This is exactly what it sounds like. It is a story. It is the story of 6 of the women who were executed during the Salem witch trials and some of the background behind that. I've heard great things about it. I actually got it in Salem when I visited not too long ago, and I've wanted to read it ever since. So excited to get to this. I need to figure out how I'm gonna break it up. It's already the second when I'm filming this video and I haven't figured out how I'm going to break this up, but we will figure it out and read it, and it should be delightful. I also have a few audiobooks on Audible that are waiting for me to listen to them. I don't know exactly which one I'd pick, but there's a good chance I'll listen to one of them, and I'll let you know at the end of the month what and if that happens. So then I just am still kind of in a reading slump, so I wanted to give myself a lot of flexibility and try to find ways to get myself into reading, and I think I came up with a vlog theme idea for this month that I'm going to go with, but I don't want to spoil that here. So look forward to my November reading vlog to find out about that, but I will show you the books, some of the books that are most catching my eye that work for the theme. There's a few others on my shelves that work for this theme, but I am not as drawn to them right now. So we'll go through this. I'm not going to give synopsis because, like I said, I'm limited on time right now, but I will just run through them, and then in the vlog, as I actually read them, you'll get more information about them. First of all, I have Lovely War by Julie Berry. Now this one I'm currently reading, so I can tell you a little bit about this. Basically, it is 2 love stories, one set in World War I and one in World War II, but they're both told from the perspective of Aphrodite, the Greek goddess, and as well as a few other Greek gods and goddesses who play a part, but it's mostly Aphrodite, and I've heard really good things about it. It's YA, so it should be a pretty fast read. I haven't spent that much time reading, but I've made it a chunk of the way in, so definitely I think it will be a pretty quick read, and I am really liking the writing style so far. Then, like I said, the rest we won't give synopses for, so let's just run through them. So we have The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson, Lancelot by Giles Kristian, Possession by A.S. Byatt, The Secret History by Donna Tartt, The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty, The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell, Joan by Katherine J. Chen, and Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. So those are the books I potentially will be reading in the month of November. Let me know down below if you've read any of these, your thoughts on them, as I would love to know. I hope you all had a great reading month in October, that your November is starting off great as well. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!